7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Oh, my voice was not ready. That's why you always warm up, guys. Welcome to episode 852 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles. Joined today by David, Bray, and Ben Funky Askren. Ben, how did this show wrap up? I haven't got to listen since I had to go to freaking
We had a great time
training.
after you left. You know, you were distracting us. We didn't talk about any wrestling while you were here. And then once you got off, we really got focused and got on the wrestling. Had some good questions about youth wrestling. And actually, the P&L kind of got me rolling on some of the issues that see within youth and high school wrestling. So we spent a lot of time talking about that.
Yeah, what's the point in all this? Sounds like the question for AWA or for P&L, but it sounds like glad you got to talk about it. And I noticed as I've been frequenting the boards now that they're going to be gone soon, and that topic of discussion about P&L came up, so it made an impact.
They were also very mad about the discussion we had about them.
I didn't see them say anything about it, did they?
We called them a cesspool. There was a whole thing on it. I did not bother to read through it.
I didn't read it. I didn't read it either. Ignorance is bliss. That's one thing I've learned about the about wrestling internet.
Even if you're in that cesspool, I still love you.
Yeah, even cesspools have their moments, right?
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
Ain't all bad.
All right. Well,
what do you think? What do you think all of the forum people are going to do? You think they're just going to go to Twitter like most of the other people have already, or what?
I don't know. I think we'll just lose some of them. Some of the people will just
stop following wrestling.
Just leave the conversation. They'll be like, all right.
Maybe start a group text with some of their old buddies from the mat or something.
But when the wrestling talk died, I basically stopped being a forum poster for any real sense. I was like, all right, well, this is over. Like, there's no place that was like that. So if they had a similar experience on the mat forums, they would probably find probably similar. So that's my prediction. Oh man, shout out to Larry Steele. His dog just got sprayed by a skunk. Ooh. And he says SMFH. Which I'm not even gonna tell you what that stands for.
Probably should be like leaving him outside for a couple days.
David, you're an outdoorsman. Have you ever been sprayed by a skunk or anyone you love?
No, it's brutal. Our next door neighbor's dog got sprayed by a skunk one time, and it was like it's like now you have hours and hours of work on your hands.
Yeah.
Dang, that bad, huh?
I think my brother Weston got sprayed by a skunk once when he was young. Had to do a tomato. It's like we live right against the woods and stuff, and there's skunks everywhere in Virginia.
How do you? I've heard about the tomato bath. It's like,
yeah,
you're talking about how much tomato juice? How many cans are you talking?
Is it
That's
soup?
So many.
Is it tomato soup or tomato paste?
I think it's
paste
salsa.
Oh, okay,
you couldn't do paste.
Ben's now a skunk smell nullification expert.
I'm just on. I'm thinking about the logistics of bathing in tomato paste.
I think it's chunky salsa.
Chunky, it could be some Rotel. Rotel, a little queso. Yeah. You wipe it off, and then you got a Super Bowl party. You're ready to roll.
Oh,
baby.
Anyway, well, shout out to the dog. Sorry. Anyway, we're pumped. We got a lot to get to.
We need to talk about wrestling today because you weren't focused yesterday morning.
Why do you keep saying we didn't talk about wrestling yesterday? We certainly
After
did.
you left, we did. After you left, we talked about a lot of wrestling.
Blasphemy.
I listened in a lot, and I mean, there was some good conversation about cannibalism in Wisconsin. That's kind of.
I didn't bring that up though. Listen, Shane Sparks is a runaway train, and
it's true.
It's just you just got to hop on board. We talked about you know what we had to start the show with.
The book.
Per contractual obligations. Ben said we have to talk about this or I'm not coming on the show. So I said, fine.
Get some good reviews.
Good reviews. Okay, well, we're going to get to it now. Officially. Barrett Jordan to Oklahoma State. He's already at Stillwater High School. This is a common thing we see.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, who's doing the recruiting? Because, when it's a brother, say it's a Little Rochelle or Tristan Moran, for example, his brother went to Oklahoma State, and then their families, they talked the family into coming to Stillwater. Mm-hmm. But with these other people who have no relations on the team, I mean, AJ Heeg just ended up there. Barrett Jordan ended up there. There's a lot of people who end up there. Who is doing all this recruiting?
Well, I would say partially it recruits itself to a degree.
A little bit.
I heard that
But you still got to put the idea in someone's head, right? Like, hey,
not at this
why don't
point.
you come to... Really?
It's not. Look, all these parents are looking around. Do you think any parent that's like into this in a real way knows that there's like people that move to Stillwater? It's a good wrestling team. You can train with the Cowboy Wrestling Club or whatever.
But so I could understand. I could understand if it was like, so a kid from Texas, right? There's not much good wrestling. So they move north, or maybe New Mexico, like somewhere within the proximity. But he is from Illinois. This guy's from Ohio. If I had the Stillwater roster, I'd go down and there's a bunch of other ones from other places that have ended up there.
Yeah, and I think it's what I was gonna say, and Keith Gothard's saying it too. Like it's the dads, it's the parents that do the recruiting.
Yeah,
and that's true in college too. A lot of these,
a lot
of the parents are like, "Hey, this." I mean, and I think that's smart. That makes sense. Like, hey, my kid is having this experience. This would be a good fit. Or I think the opposite can happen too. Like, it's not working out. Don't come here. So, I think that's a big piece of it.
Okay. Because they have quite a few people on their team now.
They do.
What if they have a website I could look at? Go look at their high school team.
Yeah, I don't know if that exists. Okay, so that's happening. Barrett Jordan, Oklahoma State. Aiden Attal going to Oregon State along with a host of
Oregon
others.
State went ham yesterday.
Yeah. Did they get any AWA guys though?
I know they're Chris Pelton. I think Chris Pelton is going to come hang out at my house Saturday because I think they're coming to recruit the Big Cheese and Charlie Millard.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's called the Big Cheese?
No. The Big Cheese is the event that there's this new website called WI Wrestle, and they're putting on this event called Who's the Big Cheese. It's like who's number one, but you're not number one. You're the Big Cheese, and Charlie is wrestling. Charlie is actually the main event. Charlie versus Zane, so it should be a fun main event. Okay. We had freaking stupid injuries. I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced that with events you put on. Mm-hmm. So annoying when they freaking give a great card and then they get injured and you're like, oh man, it sucks.
Dealing with that in jiu-jitsu right now for sure.
Yeah, but we did fill the gaps because we got Aiden got hurt and he dropped out, but we got Remy Cotton from Michigan. He's nationally ranked. So we got him to come in and wrestle in Mirsola, and then we got when
Romero Cotton.
Romero Cotton's like 33. He can't wrestle high school kids.
He could.
His name's Stop.
Why not?
His name's
Romero
Remy.
Versus
His name is
Sinclair.
Remy. He's ranked nationally.
Yeah, he's good.
I'd rank Romero
he's
too.
Good.
Yeah, I would too.
He's number 10 from Davison High School.
Yeah, he beat Manny Rojas one time a couple years ago, and that was like kind of him jumping on the scene. But those guys have been, the Davison crew has been like saying, watch out for this kid for a long time. He's good.
Yeah, so that should be a fun match because those guys are both top 10. And then we got the Fargo champ Bryce Burkett from Minnesota when Mulvaney got hurt to come wrestle. So I think we filled those spots, but then there was just a kid 2 days ago that got hurt. And so now I think which one of our AWA guys is left without an opponent? I think Cotter Mirsola doesn't have an opponent.
Imagine taking the Big Cheese out of state. That'd
be bad.
What if Wisconsin?
We can't.
What if Wisconsin can't even facilitate its own Big Cheese? That's gonna be.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, initially it was all Wisconsin versus Wisconsin, but then there's Sinclair got hurt, Mulvaney got hurt. Yeah, it's annoying.
If Wisconsin gives Michigan the Big Cheese, just like they gave the upper part of the state,
yeah,
right, that's just the final nail in the Wisconsin coffin.
Yeah,
you just can't let that happen. Look at the map of Wisconsin. That is humiliating.
Yeah.
Ben, you should run for office, and
I would take it back.
You should run for office, and that's your platform. It's like, we're taking it back. This is ours.
That's what I would do.
The first ever state invasion takeover, land grab.
Those Michigan people, they're weak. We whoop them, no problem.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of great high school showcase events, Wild West Wrestling Showcase is happening this weekend too. It's at Valiant Prep. It's like the first. I think it's the first event that Valiant Prep has hosted on their campus, or I don't even know if it's on their campus, but down there in Arizona, and they're bringing in an all-star team to give a bunch of their guys some good matchups. So, awesome. 1 vs. 2 rematch with Christian Castillo and Seth Mendoza. Kyler Larkin's gonna wrestle Cale Hughes, which should be really fun. So yeah, it's gonna be some good matches. So check that out Saturday night.
Okay. Looking forward to that. We've got the Sweet Prince is on the scene there.
That's right.
Our guy Connor Petros Mark Bader.
Hey, did you guys lose JD?
We're not sure.
He's in Sri Lanka.
No, stop.
UWW traded him straight up. Now, but we'll see him at Worlds next year.
A player in return? Who'd you guys get?
We got the 57 kilo guy.
Abba Makarov? That's a good trade. I would trade JD for Abba Makarov.
It turns out he's not great at writing articles or speaking English.
He doesn't know any English, but we're gonna get him enrolled. We'll get it.
Good. You guys need to capture new markets. So
we do. This is always great to expand. Key expansion. Now he'll be back, I guess, next week.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of didn't realize he was doing this, but
I'm looking.
Go off, King.
Looking.
Yeah.
Good for him, I say.
Huge wine guy. So, oh my God, he's got look at this.
He's dressed for the occasion too.
Down the river. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now he's hanging
Tyler,
out
feel
with
free to pull in JD's Instagram.
some dudes from Spain. Like, what is he doing?
Like, who are these people? These are not people he met at Carney, is it? Where are they? How does he know these?
I think these people he met in Spain.
I don't know. We'll have him explain it.
He makes friends quickly.
He does.
He's crushing it.
Yeah, look at him. He's just having the time of his life.
Dang, JD. Now we're all jealous of JD. We're supposed to be doing a radio program, and instead we're all just jealous of JD that he's, gallivanting around Europe.
He is a gallivanter, that one. Okay.
This wine picture.
Yeah, I know. With that camo and denim button-up shirt. That is one of my favorite shirts that JD wears. Okay, we'll keep it moving. Oregon State, good job.
Keep moving.
I like the group they're bringing in. I mean, they're also, you mentioned Aiden Nateo. They also have TJ McDonald, who he's a top 10 guy right now, 182. He's really solid, Fargo placer. Good, tough guy. And then McKinley Robbins is a little bit under the radar. He was a state finalist last year in Iowa and won it the year before that. But I think that guy has a lot of upside. He's super athletic. When we were at the Seabolt practice, they were saying like he's one of the best athletes, like athletes in the room, and I think he's got a lot of potential to develop. So I like McKinley Robbins too. I think they're all three of those guys have a lot of potential, and they already had 4 commits before that. 3 of them on the big board. So Oregon State, they're bringing in a whole bunch of guys. I remember like Pendleton and Nate Engel last week were tweeting about like the recruits they were getting, and they like, it's like dominoes falling type of stuff. And we're like, well, when are they coming out? And it's like, oh, well, okay. Well, I guess they are.
It's a coordinated attack.
I guess they are knocking down a bunch of dominoes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good job.
Well, they did all 3. They put all 3 out yesterday. So I think it's a strong effect when you put all 3 of them together like that.
Yes.
Indeed. Other news. Weight cutting's bad for you. We learned this. Now it's scientifically proven, Ben.
Now it's proven.
So you can't keep sucking your kids down to 106. I've heard what you've been doing to keep Ozzy lean. I think it's reprehensible.
He's wrestling a 34-pound division at Tulsa this year.
Let's go. I like his chances.
Okay, listen. I say that, and it's so funny, but the sad part about it is, like, that's a thing. Like, there's the 600 division, and they would take Ozzy if I wanted to take him. It's totally insane. It is so insane. I can't even believe it, but it is true.
He's under 6. Maybe he's ready. There is a spectrum of when they're ready to compete. And so who's to say when it is? And there's outliers.
Stop.
Maybe Ozzy's one of those.
You're just trying to antagonize me.
Do you want to?
I read through this weight cutting study, and so essentially, they tested a bunch of college guys, on their weight, and it's an 11% increase in chance of injury per pound of weight cut in rapid fashion, meaning like water weight loss. So I found it to be interesting. Obviously, I think that is the case where guys who are cutting a lot of weight during the course of the season, they struggle, they get injured more often. And now we don't just have to point to anecdotal evidence. We have factual evidence this happened.
Yeah. So it actually says for every 1% of body weight lost, wrestlers had an 11% increased.
1%, not 1 pound. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
And then for every kilogram of body weight lost, 2.2 pounds, wrestlers had a 14% increased hazard of injury. So the more weight they're losing, cutting.
So, and that's I mean, with high school and college schedules, you're just making weight so frequently, you probably shouldn't be dropping that much water weight. You should be disciplined. You should be keeping your weight close to where it should be, and wrestling there.
One thing we were talking about before the show was it would be a cool and really simple. I don't even know if you can call it a study, but just collect the data for
study.
all.
I think it's a study.
We'll call it a study, so we sound like scholars. Mm-hmm. Just take all the wrestlers in NCAA wrestling that go up in weight class, and just spit out whatever that data is in terms of their performance, like how much better or worse.
I think you could also do ones that go down. So like go up. You could go up and then increase performance,
up all that
yes
data.
Or no, down, increase, yes or no. And I think you would see that going down is most likely leads to a drop in performance, unless the circumstance where, and this is where you'd have to actually look into it a little more per person, but where I'm supposed to be at 165, but Christian's there and I can't beat him out. So I go to 174, but I'm actually a 165 pounder. Mm-hmm. Then you graduate, then I go back to my real weight.
This is this is not exactly what happened with Miles Amin, but he was up at 197 because it was best for the team. Mm-hmm. And then he went down to 184 and was better. Michigan loves going down in weight and doing better.
That's the thing that's going to make this a little bit more challenging, is that a lot of times those weight changes are dictated by the team and by, guys' perceived ability to have success at that weight. And so I don't know. It's that's
why I think you just throw that part out, and I feel like you don't even need it. Just look at the guys that go up a weight, and what does that say?
Let's just do the LJ Helbig case study.
LJ went from heavyweight to 174.
Yeah, he wrestled every weight class.
It's hard to imagine him at 174 because you see him now, and he's in great shape, and he's not even close to 174. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was I'm glad. Good on the University of Wisconsin on funding.
Yeah, I don't recognize. I was saying maybe I recognize his name because it was University of Wisconsin, but I don't. Let me go find this guy's name. That did it. Eric Hammer, great name, but
wow.
We actually Aaron. I think it's Aaron Hammer. I thought we actually had an athlete named Tucker Hammer. Great name. Should have been WWE name. That was
called him the Big Cheese. Tucker the Big Cheese Hammer.
So funny.
Okay. Gary Johnson was involved. I think he wasn't that a presidential candidate?
I think Gary Johnson actually works for the wrestling team of Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, I think he actually almost was president.
He ran for president. He didn't know some key information, and that ended up being his downfall.
Those are the most key information he didn't know.
He didn't know about some global
he didn't know
conflict.
The branches of government.
Yeah, it's tough when you're a third party candidate, and then when you don't know what you're talking about. On top of that, it's just it really hamstrings you,
That's a 1-2 punch. Pretty insurmountable.
Oh my God.
Okay. So yeah, this was cool. Apparently the data are available on reasonable request. I think Kozak already reached out to the Dr. Hammer, perhaps.
Dr. Hammer.
Getting a little more.
Yeah, I mean, so what I said before the show, I think, was that I would like to see raw data on amount of injuries, sustained per athlete, per what weight cutting scenario they were at, and then part of me says it would also be, and I'm not disputing the result. I think they would probably say the same, but keep doing it over the course of multiple years so you get more incidents, because some of it could be, with a smaller data sample. I think it was 150 wrestlers. It could be skewed by just a few bad luck events. So if you had thousands, then it would be pretty hard to argue and have a bad luck.
Yeah, there's a while we're on the topic, an FRL question from Kevin Mulder. I listened to David Taylor talk about having a difficult weight cut, and Christian mentioned how Vito looked at U23s. What exactly does a difficult weight cut entail? I'd be interested to hear specifics. How much was David cutting? What was the process like? So David, kind of aside, Ben, you're probably the best person to talk about.
Yeah.
What makes it difficult?
Well, I would say so on the hour weigh-in, it's a lot different, because on the day before you can have a hard weight cut and you can, in my opinion, come back and perform really well. It should be a non-factor almost. So when I was doing international wrestling, it was usually I'd say 2 to 4 p.m. weigh-in, and then you wrestle the next morning. Fighting is actually 36 hours, because you weigh in generally the morning of Friday, and then you'll compete till Saturday night. So the day of weigh-ins, 1 hour, it's very finicky, because I can tell you there not a lot of times because I was pretty disciplined about it, but there was a few times, like especially over Christmas break, and you guys can, if you pay attention, you'll see it, but where I got a little heavy, and then instead of, I would probably lose 2 to 3 pounds, right? That's like 1% of my body weight or 1.5, before a weigh-in of sweat, like I would be 176, 177, go to 174. During the week, the heaviest I might get is 179, something like that, where I was like, really, like, that was what I weighed. I was really disciplined about it. But yeah, go home for Christmas and, you eat a little too much. And all of a sudden now you're 182, right? And now you're cutting from 178 or 9, just that 4 or 5 pounds versus the 2 or 3, like you feel it because when you only have an hour to recover, it's so hard to put things back, And so I'm guessing Vito's more than that, obviously. And you saw it. He looked terrible. He gassed out so fast. So on the 1 hour weigh-in, it's just so finicky because there's so minimal time to recover. Whereas a day before weigh-in, you can cut a crap ton of weight because you have so much time to recover.
Yeah. So what goes into it? Obviously you're not eating a lot. You're taking water out of your body. The longer the water and the more water that's out of your body for a longer period of time, the worse you're going to feel. The longer it's going to take to recover.
Well. Yeah, I mean, I think the answer, Christian, on these hour weigh-ins, like what I'm saying, it's finicky. So like on a day, if I did what I did on a day before weigh-in and tried to compete an hour later, like I would just fall over. Like it just would, I would have not. You're right. It would just be nothing left. To that point where I couldn't compete at a high level an hour later. But I know obviously I have a full day to recover. So what I'm saying, I think what I'm trying to say is that these hour before weigh-ins, you don't even have to be cutting a lot of weight or cutting that hard to perform poorly. Okay. Right? If you're cutting like a little bit more than you should be, it's going to be hard to recover, So, and then obviously I think for the college thing, this is not college related, Vito's, but for the college thing, when they're making weight every single week and they got to be really, really like concerned about what they're consuming and how much they're consuming. And it's an obsession because, they're holding their weight artificially low. That's where it can really like weigh on people.
And that's one thing that Gilman talked about stopping doing. Holding his weight and staying always within striking distance of making it, and then letting himself go up and then bring himself down. That's someone that's not having to make weight. That's like the way to do it. If you're a 125 pounder Division I wrestler, you literally have to do it that way.
Yeah, well, because college season you're making weight so many times. The international, what he was talking about was, it's only like 5-6 times a year or something like that.
Yeah, so you got to change it up after that point in time.
The
so
analogy,
in college, you just got to kind of wrestle what you weigh. Like, or, close, obviously get lean and then wrestle kind of what you weigh. Close.
Yeah. I was talking to Mike Mal about this, and the analogy that he uses is like, it's like you want to land that weight cut like a helicopter and take off like a helicopter, like just drop down, touch, and come right back up. But you can't do that if you're like super, super high up. Like you just can't drop it that fast effectively and get right back up to where where you want to be. And also you don't want to land or take off like a plane. Like it's just too long. Takes you way too long to get back where you were. And it's just but you have to be within striking distance to be able to do that.
Another weird thing that happens sometimes, Ben, is like guys will actually cut beyond what they need. Do you know how that happens? Like they end up, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. That happens sometimes. You're like, dude, he checked his weight and he was 2 under or 1 under, and it's like you do not want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know how people do that because I mean, especially when you're for like I said for a college season or high school season, man, you have such a good sense of what it takes because you're doing it like every single week, so like. I almost like in college, I almost had it rhythm down to like a minute. Like I'm going to go exactly this long and I know I'm going to make weight at this, I know exactly how hard I'm going to go. I'm going to go exactly this long and I'm going to make weight. And then that, boom, back up. So, I don't know how people cut, but generally if people cut that far past, to me, that says they're not really cutting that much weight. So that's what I think when that happens.
Yeah. Cody Pevler wants to know who you got, Silva or Paul?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Obviously,
for your honor, I kind of want Jake to win.
Yeah, but then obviously you also want to see him get knocked out. So yeah, it's very, very mixed feelings.
Yeah. That's a good point too. I think he'll probably win though, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Anderson's really high level. He looked really good in his last. He had a couple boxing fights and he's looked really good so far. So. Yeah, we'll see.
Gotcha. Okay. That was quick. All right. So weight cut. Anything else on the weight cutting study?
No. I wish. Actually, I talked to. I did a podcast with Mr. Pompliano. He's a crypto guy on Monday, and we got into the weight cutting. And in my historical, have I ever told you my historical theory on why weight cutting is such a thing?
No. Maybe you
we
have.
Never talked about this.
Well, maybe we did. I don't know. We talk so much, Ben.
Okay, we
I don't remember. I don't remember what you said.
How many episodes have we done now? Probably 300 probably?
Maybe more, honestly, because we picked it up to 3 around the time you came on.
When I started it was 3 a week. Yeah.
I'll look it up while you go.
Well, it was January of 2020, right before Corona.
Yeah, you brought in COVID.
That's true.
That was my fault. My bad. So my historical thought process on cutting weight is that, if you go long enough back, even if you watch in the 90s, sometimes you're like, dude, these dudes ain't very technical at all. But then you just keep going back and back and back into like the 40s and the 50s, right? Where like collegiate wrestling started. And I think it was probably a few years before that. And there's minimal technique. And so in my opinion, it's there's a high correlation between how tough they are and how often they win, right? That's like, there's not a lot of factors, and that's definitely one of them. And so if you go with, the toughest guy wins, which in that scenario with minimal technique, I think is relatively likely. The toughest guy can also cut the most weight. But just because he's cutting the most weight doesn't mean he's winning because of that. He's probably winning because he's the toughest dude. And so then I think people start relating those two things is like, because it was a sense of pride to cut a lot of weight and say, oh, every kid wants to brag, like, did they cut like 5 pounds more than they actually did, right? When they cut 7 pounds, like, I cut 12 pounds, So I think there was like a correlation there. And then I think people started like thinking it really mattered. And then obviously because they think it mattered, then everyone started doing it. And then even once they all start doing it, the toughest guy still probably cuts the most weight, and the toughest guy probably is still also the most likely to win a wrestling match. And so there's just this correlation over time, and people think, because I actually don't think it really matters all that much.
Yeah.
Within reason, of course.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Looking up, I think it was around episode 440-ish is when you started.
Oh, man, we're on like 400. Jeez.
400s. Wow. Days and days of wrestling talk. Could be worse. Beats working, as they say.
Some technically would call this employment, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I guess he's not familiar with that phrase.
Yeah.
Let's do this NIL talk, because I think I got an opinion.
Kozak, we'll get to it. Kozak says, Ben started in January 2020. That was when I first did international rankings for Flow, and Ben fired me.
It's so funny.
That's true.
You remember when he tried putting Miles Amin above Alex Derringer? Unacceptable.
And then one guy won an Olympic bronze medal.
Listen, they wrestle. Go make that match. Time warp back to January 2020. I think we're good. 89 kilogram, 86. Was it? No offense. Miles Amin is a really good wrestler. I am, and by no means trying to offend him in this scenario.
But you're about to.
We have We have multiple guys in America. If you take David Hill out, who would medal at 86 kilograms, it's just not that deep compared to 65 or 74 or a few of these other weight classes.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
That is
no offense there. That is just factual.
That's factual. All right. Talk about the NIL thoughts, because there are some clarifications that came out. Schools cannot provide free services to student athletes. Norcan schools offer equipment to student athletes. One of the services was tax preparation. So apparently some of these schools got CPAs on the scene.
That seems like something they should be able to do, because these college kids are dum-dums, and they're like, I guarantee half of them are not paying their taxes. There's no way, right? They're getting a check for $1,000 and they think, I got $1,000, I'm gonna go spend it. There's no way they're putting money aside for taxes. That is absolutely needed.
Technically, if you spend the money, you don't have to pay taxes on it, though. I've learned. I think that's the case.
I think that'll land you in a lot of hot water.
Okay, maybe I need to talk to my tax guy.
The IRS, they're gonna get theirs. No, I think that's probably Yeah, I think having a CPA on staff, that should be reasonable. Maybe make them pay for the CPA, but you need a CPA like giving these dudes some advice.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So that's bad. NCAA, you're just trying to get people in trouble.
Yep.
Knuckleheads. No, I was gonna say I haven't seen too much. I just don't think it's as big of a factor as we thought it was going to be. I think Keegan's got a few deals. I mean, Parker's got a deal or two, but we're not talking big money in any sense of the imagination. And then obviously the lower level guys might get. I know I see a post about like Liquid IV, which Liquid IV is great, but they're probably getting a couple free packs of this or that. I know Matty Bianchi's always posting about some type of nutritional supplement down there at Little Rock. So I think they're probably getting some free supplements or something like that, but not much more.
Okay.
I think it does for the top schools. I think it's on the coaches' minds a lot, and I think it's on those recruits' minds a lot. Whether it is a factor or not, I think the perception of it being a factor maybe more important than it actually being a factor. So
I'm gonna disagree. Like Aiden Sinclair's one of the top kids in the country. Mirasola's, I haven't heard them bring up NIL one time, not once. I have not heard the words uttered from their mouths.
Yeah, maybe it's just a boogeyman because like a lot.
I think that's what it is.
I hear a lot of coaches and parents like talk about NIL and not in any specifics, just like that it matters and that it's something that they're competing against because everyone thinks every other school is like cheating with NIL and they're doing all this stuff wrong and it's a factor for them. And I don't know that it is anywhere, but I think it is this boogeyman that people are spending a lot of mental energy on.
Yeah. I'm not, like I said, I'm not seeing it. I have never heard those. We've had a lot of kids now in the last 2-3 years 2 years, right? Since my NIL came in, get recruited, and I'm not hearing anything about NIL from them, like zero. Like now Keegan's in college, and he's probably top 10 most popular, and so he has a couple deals, and so he calls and says, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we talk and I give him advice, but it's not, like I said, it's not huge money. I mean, he's for a college guy, it's nice. But I don't think anyone else or not that many people are getting that type of thing.
I think it'll be interesting to see if how this continues to affect the number of guys that smaller programs bring in for their RTC compared to like trying organize their donor base around NIL deals. That's something I've definitely heard at some programs.
I know that's definitely happening some places, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to happen to a pretty high degree because these donors that are, funding these RTCs, which basically these RTCs don't make any money, right? So
no, they're not made to make money.
So it's all donor support. It's charity, and they do it because they want to help the college program in general.
Yep.
That's what they want to do. And so the coaches tell them, hey, this is how you can support the college. Now they can so much more directly, compensate the athletes that they're actually really trying to build up. So I think it is.
That's where they need more regulation.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like they're getting paid money that there's no intention of getting that money back. It is just charity.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's I.
But even in that sense, like I haven't heard any not Sinclair, Mirasola's. I haven't heard anything about even the college. So I've heard a few other incidents of not kids that I'm coaching, but other people allegedly, right? So I'm actually like first person party to those conversations. But as far as the kids I'm coaching, I haven't heard any of them say like, oh yeah, this RTC is going to give me this or that or nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it could be happening. I'm just not seeing it at all. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as people thought it was going to be. What I do love is that Parker Keckeisen can make some Parker Keckeisen shirts and go sell them. Like they should have always. The thought process that he couldn't do that 10 years ago, or even 4 years ago, is like preposterous.
Didn't stop Ben.
No, I did it after I graduated.
Come on.
Because I was actually scared of the stupid NCAA. But Parker does a camp and he wants to sell some Parker Keckeisen shirts. Cool. Keegan does a camp. Every kid wants a Keegan O'Toole shirt. Cool. Sell some Keegan O'Toole shirts. It's great.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go to the camp first.
Crap.
You got to go to the camp.
I'll send Caleb.
Maybe if you're nice enough to him, he'll bring one to the All-Star.
I'll send Caleb to a camp. then he can win.
Yeah,
NCAA
so I think like
too.
the fact that kids couldn't do that, and that's one where it's like, okay, they're not making real big money, right? But for a college kid to sell $1,000 of shirts, right? And now he's got a little spending money. That's cool. That's what they should be doing. And they're actually like bringing value, right? Because the kid wants a Parker Kekkonen shirt, or the kid wants a Keegan O'Toole shirt, and now they got one. They're happy. The college kid's happy. They made a few bucks. Like that's how it should work. It shouldn't be these like rich dudes saying like, "Oh, I want this guy to come to my school, so I'm gonna like give some money to an RTC who's gonna give money to him." Like that's dumb.
Yeah, I do think there are some athletes that are able to like outlier athletes, but like Spencer, that have really been able to monetize it. But
and he signed with Rudis. I mean, Spencer is a top, we'll say what 2-3 pound per pound, and notably, him, Yanni. There's a couple right that have, and they have bigger deals, right? Spencer signed with Rudis. Yanni signed with the hell did Yanni sign?
Spartan. Did they make clothes?
Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then even you go a few steps below that, like Carter. Who did Carter sign with?
I'm not sure.
Right, so it's like, I mean, that's a top notable name, and you're like, who's he signed with? Trent Hidley, like who's he signed with? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm curious how the NIL collectives are going to continue to impact this, because you see like, Levi Haynes posting about like being part of the NIL collective at Penn State, like Alex Facundo, like those guys haven't done anything on the NCAA level yet, but that's already part of what they're doing. So I do think it's happening a little bit.
Yeah. I always kind of think some stupid coaches are really going to screw themselves. Because they're gonna get all this money, they're gonna give it to these recruits, and then the guys on our team are gonna say, "Hey, what about us?" Right? Mm-hmm. And so they said, the coach will say, "I have X amount of money to give to these recruits," and then the kids on the team are gonna hear about X amount of money, and then they're gonna need 5 or 6X, because the college guys are gonna be like, "Wait, I'm already scoring points in for this team. Why are you giving him all the money? Hand it over, dude."
Yep. Or the kids like get the check, and then they still can leave the school and wrestle elsewhere, which has happened in other sports.
That too.
Because it's not really tied to competing. It's not tied to a school. It can't be tied to a school.
It can't be. Really can't be, yeah.
It can't be. We say it can't be. It's not supposed to be, but it is.
So we know it is. But okay, here's the great part. It's like, Christian, if you buy drugs from a drug dealer, and then it's not the right drugs, you're not going to go to the cops and say he didn't give me the right drugs.
There's actually an episode of Cops where that happens.
You can't do that.
I'm a big Cops guy, and the lady just says she sold $20 from me, and it was just that he or she, I can't remember now, but paid $20 and did not get the crack that they felt entitled, and they went to the cops about it.
Okay, so
this sounds like a Reno 911 bit, but it actually happened on Cops.
Well, that's just not right. You should get the crack you pay for.
It's kind of messed up.
Well, so in this scenario,
if you can't trust drug dealers, who can you trust?
Oh my God. In this scenario, if the coach is trying to facilitate the NIL in order to get the recruit to come there, it's very clearly illegal, right? So then if the recruit takes the money and they bounce, the college coach can't go to he's not going to go to his athletic department and say, "No, I gave that guy $20,000 to come here."
Yeah.
They're screwed.
Yeah. It's a way to stick it to the rich man, which is what it's all about at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, if you're a smart college guy, you'd take like 2 of them. So you'd say to school A, "Yeah, I'll take that money. I'm coming there," right? And then you'd say the same to school B. And so you'd get the check from school A. You'd be like, "Hey, man, send me the check. I'll sign the papers." They send that check, and then you sign it to the school. You double up your money, baby.
Let's go.
There's no honor amongst thieves.
There you go. And with that, why don't we get back to some more team previews? This was fun.
I like it.
This has been an enjoyable segment. One of JD's last great ideas before he went into transition to a life as an Instagram influencer in Sri Lanka. So y'all didn't do any yesterday, correct?
We did not.
You did not.
I didn't know no one let me in on that we were supposed to.
Well, no, there was no supposed to. I just It was in the doc yesterday if you wanted it, like many things in the doc. So we are currently at number 16, which is the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Go Panthers.
So if you don't know, we give a kind of a rundown of their lineup, who we think is going to start probably. Then we have a little questionnaire that we answer for these teams. And it's fun. So looking at Pitt, they're in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. They were formerly in the EWL, I believe. No longer. Yep. One of the many tough teams in the ACC. So quick rundown of their lineup. Colton Camacho, not Jacob. Mickey Philippi, Cole Matthews, Brock McMillan, who's a freshman, new recruit. Dejon Casto, transferred in from Citadel. Holden Heller, a transfer from Hofstra. Luca Augustine, Reese Heller, Hofstra, transfer. Nino Bonacorsi, and Jake Slinger.
Dang, I didn't realize how hard Pitt killed the transfer portal.
Yep. Portal power for Coach Gavin.
Heller brothers, they used to be funky freshers. They always talk too much. I almost had to beat them a few times.
Oh, really? Big mouth Hellers?
The Reese and Holden, the older brother Sage, he was more mature, wouldn't talk. Reese and Holden, they would not shut up. I would threaten them, like, dude, I'm gonna come kick your butt. You guys need to shut up. You're talking too much.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that doesn't just happen at the outlaw practices. Kids love to talk. It's a fun time. So they've got some. This team is one. I think we were talking. Maybe it was Kozak and I don't remember where. We talk a lot of wrestling in our days. It's kind of awesome. But this is it could be boom or bust for this team because there's guys like Mickey. We know what he can do, what he has done. Nino's a former NCAA finalist. Yep. Cole Matthews is ranked number 1. Like, this could end up really, really good for Pitt. But there's also, like, there's scenarios where a lot of these guys don't play. Like, Nino did not place last year. Mickey did not place. And even Cole, as good as he is, he could win a national title. But there's a lot of guys that he's going to be in competitive matches with.
He doesn't shoot.
Well, that's your opinion.
No, I don't know. It's
but also my opinion. It's also my opinion. I think it's Cole's opinion. I think it'll be Cole's opinion. But he's
shouldn't be so stubborn.
He's very, very he's very tricky, and he's got a lot of positions where he is good, and he can compete.
Castro's really good though too. He had a solid year last year.
He did, and they were high. They're high on the Heller transfers, and Brock McMillan. Bray, you probably have a little more info on Brock. He was dealing with some injuries, I know, last year during his redshirt, but they're excited for what he can potentially do.
I might be. I don't want to be incorrect about this, but I think there was like an article about McMillan. In high school, like the story on him was like this guy was I think a 3-time state champ in Pennsylvania, but he didn't compete a lot on like the national scene. And I think there was a story about him dealing with some kind of like heart issue or something, and then he got that under control.
Yes, this is a fact.
And so like he's a guy that he wasn't in the national rankings because he just didn't have the opportunities to get those wins, but he didn't lose either. And so he's a guy that I think works like a dog. He's from that Pitt area, and his potential is a little bit untapped so far. So he's one that's a big question mark. But if he all of a sudden starts moving up to 20, 15, 12 in the rankings, like it wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yeah, looking forward to watching him. And Casto was
he was 3-2 at NCAAs last year. So 1 point lost to Franek and 1 point lost to Willits. So I mean he's right there.
Yeah, he's not a guy that's going to get blown out. With a lot of cheese talk. His nickname, as we learned, is Cheese.
Yeah. He's got the NIL deal.
He's got the NIL with the Primanti brothers, as does Cole Matthews.
Is that real? Are we joking?
None of the things I've just said are jokes. They're all accurate.
His name is Cheese, and the Primanti brothers. They people love the Primanti brothers.
They do. They're slinging Sammys up in Pitt.
No one knows who they are.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, his Instagram, as we documented, it's Cheese Casto.
Cheese Casto.
Dejon Cheese Casto. So he is Cheese. We will call him as such. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him. This is an exciting team. Coach Gavin and company have been doing a great job year after year. They're getting better and better. They've got a pretty decent nucleus that's going to be around a while. Cole Matthews has 2 or 3 years remaining.
Still?
Yes. I know. It surprised me too.
That does.
Let me look it up.
Another guy you guys didn't mention was Luca Augustine, who had a pretty good run at UWW juniors. I don't know how his college season was last year, but he had some good wins.
Yeah.
So Cole's freshman year was the COVID year.
Oh wow!
So then the next year didn't count, so that's 1 year, and then last year's 2. So he has 2 left this year and next. So
because he wrestled 2020.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
So 2 years left for Cole Matthews. Mickey Philippi will be done after this year by law. He cannot. This is his 7th year, I believe. But yeah, but they've got other good guys. And for 197, they've got Stout coming in behind Nino. The timing sort of worked out perfectly there with that. So they're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, you said boom or bust about this team, and I mean, just to kind of illustrate that, 33, 57, and 97, those guys are all ranked to be competing in that round of 12. And
yes,
so
that's how that can go.
That's tough, man. That's you can go like Oregon State did, and you have 4 All-Americans, or you can go the other way. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I would tend to think Nino Bonacorsi, who's ranked 9th, has a good chance to finish ahead of that.
Yeah.
Philippi's ranked 8th. That's a tough weight. I think if he's ahead of that, that wouldn't shock me. But that's super hard. And Casto, I probably wouldn't pick on the podium, but you never know.
Yeah, it's a tough weight, but he's got some good wins. Of course, there's a lot of Stouts in the mix. This is Max Stout that's at Pitt. Luke, his brother, who we'll talk about next, is at Princeton. But here, time for the questionnaire. What is the max upside for this team? They're currently ranked 16th. Mm-hmm. Is this a team that could get into the top 10?
The very best thing is, if all things, so we're saying if all things went right for them.
Yeah, if all 10 win NCAAs.
Right. Yeah. So to do that, like rankings wise, they would basically have to improve they'd have to find like 12 points. They're at 29.5 projected points. 10th right now is at 41. So they'd have to find 11.5 points.
Oh yeah. Like I think, for so although Christian's being a smart aleck, it does the upside for them does not mean all people winning, but like to place at the highest that you see if their range, I think they get 4 All-Americans, and I think that's easy top 10.
Especially if Cole places where we know he can, right? If he wins, that makes a lot of stuff.
If Cole wins and Philippi and Bonacorsi finish like 5th, I mean they could be top 10.
It could be top 10 because they're gonna punch a lot of guys through. I think they'll probably get 8, 9, maybe qualify. I think heavyweight's probably the one weight I would probably just totally write off right now for them to qualify. But the others, I think all will have a shot. They like the Hellers as well. So with that, if you punch a lot of guys through, you get a couple wins here, or even just that attrition like we saw with you and I, like everyone's scoring 2 points, everyone's winning matches, like that does have a cumulative effect. When we're talking about getting in the top 10, that does make a difference.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think this can be a top 10 team, no doubt. So that's max upside. How many AAs? I'm going to set the over-under at 2.5.
Going 2.
I'm going 3, baby.
3.
I need Mickey Philippi to get it done.
Yeah, I know.
And I believe Nino can get it done again. So I think I'm going 3.
Let's go. Yeah, I'll go over. I'm excited about Pitt. And
3.
You never know who can develop. Yeah, I think 2 is probably.
Okay. I'm gonna go 2.
I think 2 is very fair, and that's probably like where most of the money would go if we did run a legitimate sports book. Which dare to dream. Higher or lower than current ranking? I feel good about higher than 16th.
I feel good about higher. We're talking about NCAA finished.
NCAA finish, yes, sir.
Yeah, I feel good about that. But higher.
Here's an interesting one. Is this a better dual or a tournament team?
Probably dual.
It is a good dual team because they've got a lot of good wrestlers, which is a common thread with dual teams. But is this a top? Could they be? Yeah, would they be a top? As I look at the teams ahead of them, would they beat? Like Virginia Tech is ranked 13th. Like I don't think they could beat them in a duel.
But I don't think they can beat them at the NCAAs either.
No, I don't. Could they beat Iowa State in a duel, who's also ranked 13th?
They could definitely beat them.
You think so?
Yeah. I think 25 leans to Iowa State. They go either way. 33, I go Pitt. 41, Pitt. 49. Yeah, I'm gonna give them 5 wins in there.
Okay.
57, they're gonna get.
Match. Yeah, that 41 match, Casey Swiderski, Cole Matthews. That's pretty fun.
That's a fun match.
Yeah. That's a classic. If you ask me, it's like Cole is he's gonna trick him in a couple positions, and then but you'll like go into the next match, be like, it'll be different next match. Mm-hmm. Like Casey can, you'll think Casey can win. That'd be my prediction.
Yeah. So yeah, and for like, Iowa State, I would say they're a significantly better dual team than they are a tournament team. When I look at their lineup.
Oh, really?
For sure. Besides Carr, who's going to score? I mean, so when you think about NCAA championships, you got to think how many like top 5 guys do they got? How many guys are going to finish in the top 5?
We don't know about Swiderski, but Younger Bastida
is a possibility.
Yeah, Younger Bastida is a beast.
Carr, Coleman, and Bastida are all
American.
Those are the only 3 that I think have a possibility. And so when you think you have 3 that have a possibility, and I would say, I guess I'll call Carr a lock on that. Maybe you get one of the other ones, but maybe you get none of the other ones. Like they're very far from locks. And then there's no other guy on there where I'm like, oh, there's this guy, Isaac Judge, is going to jump up to top 5 guys. Like, nah, I don't see it. I would be shocked.
Swiderski's the X factor.
Yeah.
So, whereas someone like Virginia Tech, who that's tied with them, you'd say is Virginia Tech more likely to beat Iowa State in a duel or a tournament? And so, tournament-wise, you got Mekhi Lewis, who's going to finish really high, and you got Andonian, who's likely to finish really high. So that's almost 2 guys. I don't want to say they're locks, but very close for top 5 at NCAAs. And then you got a Hunter Bolen or Latona that could maybe do it also.
Looking at Princeton versus Pitt, who's ranked one ahead of them. This would be an interesting duel. I feel like I'd probably favor Pitt.
I think Pitt.
There's just a few guys for Princeton. I'm not really sure that.
Yeah.
So why don't we go to Princeton?
But then at NCAAs for Princeton, I mean, Glory and Monday. You're saying like those dudes are both gonna be top 3, right? Mm-hmm. If they're both top 3, that's like. Right, they're probably gonna score 45.
That's like 40
points,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
40 somewhere in there. So yeah, I mean, they're a better tournament team than dual team.
Plus, they've got Stout, Stefanik, who are good. Yeah. Keller's a qualifier. It's the other guys. They're 33, 41, 65, 74, 84. I'm not as sure about for Princeton, but we'll see. They do a fantastic job. Why don't we switch to them? Let's go Princeton time. So they're ranked 15th right now, tournament. 125, Pat Glory. 133. These are guesses. I don't know if these will be their guys. 133, Nick Kyle. 141, Danny Coles. 149, Marshall Keller. Feel good about him at 49. 57, Quincy Monday. 65, Blaine Berge. 74, Cole Musshauser.
I think that's Mulhauser.
Oh,
I don't know.
Did I type it wrong?
I think so.
Okay. Sorry, Cole. Nate Duggan, 84. Luke Stout, 97. Travis Stefanik, who we mentioned, is going from 84 to heavyweight. So that's Princeton. So good team with the standouts of Glory and Monday. How many AAs? I feel like you got to probably just say 2 for this team.
I think 2 is the right answer.
Max upside. They firmly believe they can be a trophy contending team. That's like the mantra. Year, that would be really an incredible performance. And there's gonna just have to be performances from guys that totally, I would say, out of left field for that to be a reality. Even if
who's really good, but he won't find a starting spot. Christian.
Who?
And there's no red shirts, so it's Ty Whalen from Jersey. I was really impressed with him this summer.
Yeah. What? Oh, they were talking about him.
He's good, but they got Keller at 49 and Monday at 57, so I don't know where they're going to slide him in.
I think when Quincy was considering 65, they were thinking he would be their 57, but now that Quincy's back down, it's probably
I think he's big. I think he might go.
65.
Man, I can't remember. I was freaking there, and I don't remember.
I think he wrestled. I'm pretty sure he wrestled 52 this summer.
Yeah,
he's good.
Well, yeah. So I don't be surprised if he doesn't find his way into the lineup somehow.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what Mulhauser looks like this year. He had a pretty good senior year last year, New York State champ. But yeah, I would really like to see him Super 32 placer. I think he'll be solid.
Yeah. So for max upside for them, let's say they get max upside. Let's say they get Glory gets second with a lot of bonus, which is possible, and Quincy wins.
Oh, you're not giving him a chance?
Okay. I mean,
he's
I'm not saying
like that. He's gonna be mad at you.
I don't think he'll be mad at me. I mean, I'm not saying he can't win. I'm saying if he gets second place with a lot of bonus, that's probably like 22, 23 points.
Okay, sure. But he wants to beat eventually.
All right, 27 points for Pat Glory, 20 for Quincy Monday. So that's like 45 points. We'll say between those two. Fair.
Yep. Fair.
Then can a combination of Stout or Stefanik get on the podium at like?
No, I think no.
No. Hard
That's
no.
my vote.
Yeah, it'll be tough. Weird stuff happens though.
Weird, yeah.
197 is going to be full of
deep.
There's so many guys. But they've got 97s on the podium a couple times. Brett Harner kind of broke it open for them, and then Brucky before he had to transfer was an All-American. Stout looked good in the room as I was watching him, but a lot of guys do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll say 45. What does 45 points get you? What did that get you last year? Let's look at that.
Yeah. As you pull that up, one thing to mention is
probably 8. Eight's my guess.
That's what 8th was the number I was at too. Let's see what it is.
I bet it's a little lower.
I think you're right.
But 45 is like 12th.
45 was outside the top 10.
Really?
NC State was 10th with 49.
Well, we're not that far.
Well,
but you got to imagine they're going to pick up. They're going to nickel and dime a few other points out of that tournament.
Nickel and dime it, baby.
So it's probably going to, even if Quincy and Glory perform like you're talking about, and the rest of their guys
like
pick
Ben's
up,
talking about,
and the rest of their guys pick up 5 points combined, then it's like more like 50, and then that makes you a top 10 team.
Yes, which they should be very proud of if they do that.
Yeah, and there are right now there are only 5 points separating number from 16 to 12, so that's like just a super concentrated group. So that I think that's another reason to be optimistic about climbing a few spots with just not much separation. It's definitely possible.
Yeah,
2019 45 would have got you 12th place.
Yep.
So I think that's probably right around there.
Oregon State had 44 and a half.
Let's see, 2021, 45 would have got you 10. So, yeah, I mean, we're probably somewhere 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That sounds about right. Higher or lower than current ranking? See, I feel like we're falling into a trap.
Well, we're putting them all higher.
We're putting them all higher, which means that cannot happen.
It's impossible. Yeah.
It's impossible. Unless Ben's going to predict an Iowa, Penn State, Ohio State
I'm going to say
backslide.
Iowa State's going to be low. I'm going to say Iowa State lower.
I think it's going to be harder for Princeton to be higher. Like they have to be
because you're counting Monday and Glory with a lot of points already.
Yeah, like they just don't have as much room for error. And 157 is it's a weight with so much parity that if Quincy wins, no surprise. If he's 6th, no surprise. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have the room for error to finish higher.
That's fair.
They can, but I would, if you have to pick one, I think it's a safer bet to say lower.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. But you never know.
Yeah.
They're tough.
If you're a Princeton fan, dude, go higher for sure. You believe in these guys for sure,
We should just, to make all the people happy, we should just say higher number one. So everyone gets pumped up.
Yeah, they're probably going to
win. Screw those guys.
They're fired up. I know that much. And they have a great staff. They know what they're doing.
they're so good at like picking and like hammering their team's like theme, and it really becomes a narrative every year. Like that when it was Burn the Ships, it was like, man, they really went out and wrestled all the best teams in the country, and everyone was talking about it.
Ships.
They literally lit them on fire.
They bought some ships and lit them on fire.
I jumped an accidental S-bomb. My first ever on the Ben missed it.
But then
you just did?
I didn't mean to.
I missed it.
I said
I would have. What if they would have bought them like some canoes and they went on a camping trip and they canoed to the side of the thing and then they lit the boats on fire and like,
but this year, guys, they're talking about like unfinished business, and it's kind of inspirational because you would expect, man, 2 NCAA finalists, like we've made it, we've arrived. This team was terrible when we got here, and it's like no, they're just continuing to push to the next level, and it's cool, man. I like that. I think they're good at like what is the story of this year, and their guys believe in it, and their fan base gets behind it, and it's pretty cool.
Right. I think this last one is the only easy one to answer. Better duel or tournament. I think this is a better tournament team.
Yes.
For sure.
Agreed.
Especially with like Quincy. Quincy's an interesting guy on a duel team because he's probably going to win almost all the matches in duels, but he's not a bonus guy. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to control and win. So it's like you don't really get that big bump from having your like one of your big wrestlers scoring crazy points. And also Pat Glory, like he's going to be cutting a lot of weight, obviously. So they're gonna have to be careful with him. So not going to see him probably at every duel meet. I wouldn't imagine. Probably just some of the big ones. That's a prediction. I don't know for sure. That'll be the case. But an exciting team nonetheless. Princeton Tigers. Enjoyed spending some time with them for sure. Anything else on Princeton?
Got nothing.
Tigers are the real kings of the jungle. A lot of people think lions, but they don't really live in jungles.
Yeah.
We live on the savannah, is that what you're saying? Or on the plains?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The more you know. They said that on that podcast I was telling you guys about. I'm all on this wildlife.
I listened to one of them. It was about piranhas.
I haven't listened to that one yet. Was it good?
Dude, it's like freaky to think about piranhas devouring human flesh, but
yeah, that's just straight up not having a good time.
Yeah,
that's not a good way to go.
Yeah,
none of these are really good ways to go as you listen to them.
Okay, so if you had to get eaten by a lion, a tiger, a bear, or piranhas, what would you choose?
So not piranhas because that's by law has to be slow. A lion
will kill you fast.
Well,
bear, not a bear, because a bear will literally they'll basically incapacitate you and just sort of like snack on you periodically. Once they know you're you can't go anywhere, awful. they're not like in eating mode.
They keep you alive.
That sounds like the worst.
Yeah, so bear would be bad. There's a chance but a lion, I think would a mountain lion would just try to break your neck immediately, and that'd be fine. And then boom, they can bite in a very specific spot in your vertebrae. They know how to do it and just bite down and boom, just
let's do that.
Quick, you might not even see it coming.
You might not even see it. And most mountain lions you don't know.
But the piranha actually they're very unlikely to kill you.
Yes.
There aren't actual documented cases of piranhas killing people. It's usually somehow they drowned first and then they were devoured. So, but if they did, that would be terrible.
That would be a bad one. My mom definitely had me scared of piranhas, and had me thinking they just eat people constantly.
That actually, there was some really interesting stuff in that show, and apparently, you know who we have to blame for a lot of the piranha terror, the panic? Teddy Roosevelt.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, Teddy.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, so anyway, go listen to that podcast. It's a pretty interesting story about how Teddy Roosevelt got basically...
We're really pumping this podcast. They better be pumping FRL.
He got duped into believing that piranhas were just these crazy flesh eaters.
Yeah.
Which they kind of are, but...
Okay. Speaking of flesh eaters, cyclones. Not really flesh eating. It'd be perfect if it the next one was an actual tiger or something.
Cyclones are great at destroying people's homes, though.
They are. Much better than any of the animals previously discussed.
Top home wreckers in the NCAA.
No doubt. So 125, Kyson Tarakina. Ramazan Atisov is how Space says you say it, which, whatever, we'll go with him. 41, Casey Swiderski. 49, Pinheiro Johnson. 57, Isaac Judge. David Carr, 65. 74. I don't know. I mean, Joel Devine, Rojas, Guyton. Not sure. They've got
a lot of options. You think you just go with Devine because he's good enough, and you redshirt the other two?
Yeah.
But
kind of kick it down. Yeah, that would make sense to me. Marcus Coleman, Younger Bastida, 84.97. Then Sam Schuyler at 285. This is a solid team. I don't know if this is Dresser's best team since he's been there, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Max upside for this squad.
Well, like I think I said is like a lot of these guys, they're good, but they're not like top 5, top 3 guys in my opinion. So I think that really hurts them at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. What were they last year?
I don't have that up.
Hold on. I just had it. So last year they were 17th. And you'd say, well, they didn't have a great tournament, but David Carr got 3rd.
Yeah.
So he won a ton of matches. And
what place did Younger take?
Let me look at it. 5th. I think. Yeah, he got 5th place. And Coleman got 7th. So that feels like Younger getting 5th again.
Feels about right.
You say great job. Like that's good. He did good. I think he can place higher. I do, but
yeah.
Unlikely. Marcus Coleman 7th. You say that's probably about right.
Maybe, but
maybe he could go a little higher.
Well, I think,
maybe not.
I mean, right now, okay. So Marcus Coleman's currently ranked 5th, and I'm looking for guys below him that
could beat him.
And I mean, maybe Trey Munoz. He could.
Yes.
He could. After that, maybe Hunter Bolin, if he's the Hunter Bolin of a couple years ago.
Yeah, we'll see.
And that's remains to be seen. But 84 is not like chock full of all these contenders.
Yeah, this isn't the 84 of old. And Truax is up now at 97.
Maybe it's you're waiting for a guy like Hunter Bolin or like Travis Whitlake to like return to form. If that happens, yeah, maybe he's sitting down at 6, 7, 8. But right now he's ranked 5th, and I think that's I don't know. There's not a lot of room for him to go up though, because ahead of him are Caleb Romero, Trent Hidley, Parker Keckheisen, and Aaron Brooks. So I think if he's 5th, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's reasonable. So that's 12 there. You say 12 for Bastida again. That's 24. 22, I think you could say for David Carr. That'd be a good performance. I think he'll get second to Keegan if I had to pick. But we'll learn that in the duel or Big 12s along the way where those two stack up. So that's 24 plus 22. So,
but then you can see a lot of these other guys scoring like somewhere between 1 and 4 points at NCAAs.
And the big X factor here is Swiderski. Mm-hmm. How good is this kid gonna be right away? They're high.
Maybe you guys convince me now.
We're super high on Swiderski, right? Like,
yeah.
You look at this weight class and how's he gonna do? And I just like from a physical standpoint, he seems like ready to endure some of the rigor that Division I wrestling will give you.
All right, who do you got? Casey Swiderski or Ryan Jack?
Oh man, it's so tough because I'm basing it on. I'll say, man, it's interesting because Jack's like sort of mat tricky, and that's going to be a big test for Casey.
So he feels like a match you got to see. He's right there.
I would pick Swiderski.
Swiderski. So Jack's ranked 8th. Tal Shahar 7th.
He could beat Tal Shahar.
Alan Hart 6th.
That's a tough match.
So right off the bat, he's going to have Zargo that first go. So that's what's Zargo, 11, 10?
Mm-hmm. He'll have Real Woods on December 4th.
Yeah.
That's a good
Zargo's
that's some good matches right away.
Zargo's a great first match for him.
Yeah. There's some good tests for young Casey. I think he can place. I think he's a
It is funny when you talk about these teams and you pump them up, you feel like every single team's going to be above.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's ridiculous. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, because you start thinking about how good they are, and you think a lot about their best moments, and and when you think about their best moments and the upside, you think, you can move them up. Because the second I said I'm going to put Iowa State below, and now you guys got me thinking, well, dude, I'm an idiot. I can't put Iowa State down more.
Bastida could super reasonably not place and not have wrestled poorly. He's one of those.
So my feeling on Bastida though is that he has a lot of upside because he's newer to folk style, right? He's like, figuring it out, and now this is what his third or fourth year of folk style. Like maybe he gets even better.
That's a real thing. That that seems more likely than not, right?
Yeah. And like when it's like Max Dean is not out of reach for him, so you guys got him at 7 right now. And it's like, could he beat Dean? Maybe. Has he beaten Warner? Yeah, he's beaten Warner. Has he beat Buchanan? Or if he hasn't beat Buchanan, he's right there with Buchanan.
Russell Snow.
I can't remember who won that one. I mean, it's really close. I know
that. I don't know that we're gonna see Buchanan this year. So I tweeted it.
I just say you guys pulled him out of the All-Star.
Buchanan's out of the All-Star. Rocky Elam is in. He's wrestling Jacob Warner now. I don't think we're gonna see Buchanan this year. Something's going on. Something weird for sure.
Yeah, there are a lot of question marks at 197 with, is Buchanan wrestling, and then what's, how prepared is Bernie Truax for 197? He's currently ranked 5th.
Dude, he's ready.
I think he's ready,
He's
but we
ready.
haven't seen
He's good. He's a beast. Bernie's a beast.
Dude, I think he just might win it. That'd be interesting.
Buchanan is 3-0 against Bastida.
Okay.
But he's now, think how close. That's great news for Bastida if he doesn't wrestle, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4-3. So he lost to him 4-3 last year at NCAAs. He got pinned by him at Big 12s. What happened there?
Sudden victory 6-4.
Yeah, so they're close.
Is that the duel where like Younger and Buchanan, like they both got tired? Something happened in that duel.
The pin happens with 3 seconds left. So
yeah, I don't remember that as vividly as their duel match, which I also don't remember that vividly. I just remember something happened.
Yeah, so like we haven't seen Bastida. I don't think we've seen him against Beard. We haven't seen him against Truax. He's 2-2 with Elam. I think, has he split with Warner, or did he just wrestle him the one time? Let's see.
Yeah, he's got some good upside.
He's 1-0 against Warner. Yeah, man. So he's 1-0 against Warner, 2-2 with Elam, and hasn't wrestled the other 3 guys ahead of him, right? So,
was Elam dealing with some health stuff last year? Was
it
you that said something about that?
Yeah, he was.
So you expect him to be a little better? Was it all year or just some of the year?
I think all year.
Dang, that's a bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're kind of talking ourselves once again into upside. But you know what? What's wrong with being positive? What's wrong with believing in kids? Yeah. Is that a problem? Is that a crime in America today? I'm sorry.
That's what's so great about the preseason is like
it's all
how good could these guys be?
It's all about hope.
Yes, that's what we need. So I'm excited for Swiderski. Bastida, I now really feel is sort of locked in. He can place really high.
You know what's crazy is it's only a week away. Like we're gonna see that scramble of Iowa State and Wisconsin and other teams like in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Michigan State Open in a week. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, a lot happening there. Okay, other questions. Higher or lower than current ranking? Obviously.
They're going higher.
They're going higher. What if we just get to the top 10 and we're like, wait, all these guys are going back. They're going way back. This team's no good.
I wonder if there's any team that I'll feel that strongly about, because I was thinking that about this team, and you guys have talked me into like I'm being ridiculous.
Wait till you get a load of Virginia Tech's lineup. They're going to kick some necks in. They're a really freaking good team this year.
That's not biased by you at all. Not at all.
It's a fact. Look at this lineup. Well, in fact, let's look at it right now. Except no. We have to finish our questionnaire.
This is a better segue.
Let's go. 2 more questions. Let's go.
Higher, lower than current? Obviously higher. We're saying that for all the teams now. Better duel or tournament? I think tournament.
I do too.
I said duel initially, but
they are a tough duel team. They're a good duel team because they've got dudes at every weight that can like.
Yep.
They might send 10.
They have no super easy L's.
No.
Last year they had a crazy duel performance. Weren't they like 15-1 or something last year? Like it was. I don't know, I'm gonna look it up because that's probably not right. But
they beat Missouri in that crazy duel with
beat Oklahoma State.
Bastida, yeah. Missouri's another freaking, but they're like a top 5 team. They're not, at least for now. So okay, ironic that Iowa State and Virginia Tech are ranked in the identical position. Virginia Tech, Kevin Dresser, the current Iowa State head coach, his former team. Now they're side by side for a fun comparison. So looking at the Hokie lineup, 25, Eddie Ventresca or Cooper Flynn. I think Eddie Ventresca is probably the leader of the clubhouse right now, but it's the narrowest of possible margins. 33, Sam Latona. 41, Colin Girardi. 49, Caleb Henson. 57, Bryce Andonian. 65, Drew Nicholson or Connor Brady. 74, Mekhi Lewis. 84, Hunter Bolin. 97, Andy Smith, Dakota Howard. Heavyweight.
Your hero, Andy Smith.
He's back, baby. You know what time it is.
So funny. Andy Smith time. Let's go.
Let's go. The GOAT is back. A guy to keep an eye on is Tom Crook at 141. He's a true freshman from Florida. I think he's super tough. I got to watch him go scrap a little bit. He looks like the real deal, and I know they're excited about him, but Girardi's going to be a tough guy to oust for young Tom.
Yeah.
And Caleb Henson going right away, year one. They don't really have – he's the head and shoulders best guy at 149 for Virginia Tech. Excited to watch him. So let's get to some of the questions, or maybe just y'all's preliminary thoughts. Oh, my gosh. Preliminary thoughts on this team.
I think they got some big points scorers, but I mean, obviously, it has to be worrying for as a Virginia Tech fan to see Latona and Bolin make regressions last year from where they were the year before, regardless of his injury or weight cutting or whatever. That's kind of disheartening. Yeah, but I think because Mekhi and Bryce, it's like their floor is not that low because those guys are going to score big points.
Yeah, it's a team with a lot of upside, but a lot of questions. Like Latona, I think is outside the top 8 in the rankings right now at 33. It's a deep weight, but how good will he look, and how now that you take some of that weight cutting off his plate, like how much does he return to form? It's a big question. Caleb Henson is a big question at 49, and then can Hunter Bolin get back? I don't know. Like those are all important. Those are going to be important pieces to the puzzle. Yeah, I feel like this is a good team that we need more data on.
Yes. Ted Carrera says VT has 3 All-Americans again at least for the 9th straight year. That's pretty insane.
But who is that?
A YouTube.
He has 3 All-Americans for 9 years straight?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty good.
Impressive.
So I'm excited for Latona to go up to a more natural weight. It just made sense for him to, suffer last year so that Corbin Myers could wrestle at 33, best for the team. Now he can go to his best weight. I do think we'll see improvement there. Now, he's not going to enter that Roman, Dayton, even probably McGee strata, but he's going to be competitive with the Mickey Phillippes and the like for sure. So be excited for him. I think Caleb Henson, we don't know, but all these guys are pros. They're all working hard. They're focused. So you feel good about that. They like Nicholson. He's a transfer from UTC. Of course, Mekhi, he can obviously win a title. He has. He's the only guy really, in my opinion, with a shot to beat Mekhi. Hunter, I don't really.
Carter.
Who did I say?
Mekhi. Mekhi can beat Mekhi.
But that's deep.
It's me versus me.
Yeah, maybe that's truly his biggest opponent. Bolin, I'm curious about this year. He's the one where never really got a clear answer for what was going on there. Just wasn't wrestling well, and he's not a weight issue guy other than he can sometimes get too small.
Too small.
Yeah.
He just looks so big. It's crazy.
I know. Andy Smith, Dakota Howard, these are probably NCAA qualifier types at this point. Hard to predict much upside. Hunter Katka, who knows? I mean, he was a big recruit. He's really big right now. He's a great athlete. So they have a lot of guys I think will punch through to NCAAs, but will they? How many points can they score? So the majority of their points are going to come from Mekhi, Bryce, Latona, and we'll see what Bolin and the like can do. And they've got a lot of newish faces with a lot yet to prove.
Remember the time in history when Hunter Bolin beat Trent Hidley 3 times in a row?
Yes.
Oh my God, that happened.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Dang.
So it's strange, but who knows? He can turn it around. And you look at 184 does not have the depth that it did.
No,
it's not the weight it was, which is good news for Hokie fans and Hunter Bolin. Now Trent is still there, so it's going to be tough, but he can go with a lot of those guys. So, to our questionnaire, max upside. Well, I think Bryce and Mackay can win. So you could say, all right, 50 points with them.
Big points.
Then you could say Latona could place top. He could place, we could say maybe 6, just a safe sort of.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch? You think it's a stretch?
We're stretching.
I don't know. I think that's...
Why is that a stretch? Look at 133.
Like, right now, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are Dylan Ragusin, Chris Cannon, Mickey Philippi, Rayvon Foley, Sam Latona.
I mean, listen, you guys don't even have him in the rankings.
Latona? He's ranked 10th.
Yeah. Oh, man. Why is he 10th? Terry was not good last year. Let me look him up now.
He wasn't that bad last year. My gosh.
We'll see.
Don't put down.
You guys got to bring up stats. Okay, he was 14-9 last year. He lost to Certain, Teskey, Heinzelman, Manchio. I don't really know who that is. Camacho's obviously a good loss. Courtney's a good loss. Rouge's a good loss. So I guess the end of the season was a little better because he got 2 wins at NCAAs and then 2 losses. But early season was, I don't know, man. It's a lot of L's.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of obvious what's going on.
We're just gonna blame it on weight cutting. All right, and say he's gonna be better. There's definitely a possibility. You're right, for sure.
He beat Schroeder last year. He beat Jacob Camacho last year.
Schroeder lost to everyone last year, though.
Everyone? You just hate all these little guys. This is a classic little guy.
Some of them were not good last year. Yeah, I mean, don't you remember? Like Schroeder was like 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, he was freaking like up to number 2 in the country, and then last year he was losing to everybody.
Yeah, he got majored by McKee. He lost 4-1 to Latona. He forfeited out of Big Tens. He did beat Heinzelman though. He beat D'Agostino. He beat McKee. He had a lot of good wins last year. He wrestles in the Big Ten.
Maybe it was Corona year that he was really bad. Was it Corona year? It was 11-6 Corona year.
Yeah, not a great NCAAs for him. Beat Rayvon and Gutierrez, lost to Eric and Spencer. Anyway, this is not about Devin Schroeder.
All right. So I say Latona. I don't think he's gonna score that many points.
Man. Like
you guys can have a differing opinion. That's fine. That's
you don't think he could beat Dylan Ragusin?
I guess we'll see what his new and improved form at 133 looks like. I mean, like 2 years ago he was tough as nails, but last year he wasn't that great. Yeah,
so I think Roman, Dayton, Vito, McGee. I think you kind of write those off, and even Bird really.
Dude, he's solid.
Bird's so good. That's a really tough matchup for. But I feel like 6 on.
Yeah, I do too.
Is right where Sam can be, and who knows? Maybe he'll be even better than that. And it's not a weak weight because you look who's behind Sam: Kolioko, Lamont, Brody Teskey's 15th. There's some dudes. Now, there's not a lot of new faces to this weight, are there? They're like guys coming off red shirt.
Wyatt Henson will be interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think Wyatt Henson will be interesting. I think Aaron Nagao, who had a really good freestyle season, will be interesting. Those are probably the 2 that I'm most
I saw you guys got
about.
Jamie Hernandez ranked in here. He got decked in the wrestle-offs.
Well, yeah. Now we know. We have to update. That happened this week, so pretty new news. And also, it doesn't mean that he won't be the starter.
Sure, that's fair.
So for this team, max upside, I didn't actually answer. I was doing math, and then Ben went on a tirade against Sam Latona.
All right, so I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna say like
math here.
60
I'll
points.
Give him 5.
I'm giving him 60 points, which
that
I think that's too high.
I mean, 60
Hokie
points.
hater.
60 points.
Under. I'm going under on that. I'm going 50 to 45 to 50.
For max upside or for what you think they're gonna score?
Which one are we choosing?
Max upside.
Oh, okay. 60 is their max. That's fair.
I agree. I think that's right because that's 2 champs and 10 points from somewhere. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that's in the mix for them, and who knows who emerges. You know, we can revisit this, and they've got a lot of talent that we're just not as sure about. Like Hunter, and they're 25 and 41-49. We'll see with those guys. So I feel confident saying 60 is a reasonable max upside, which puts them last year would have put them in the trophy conversation, would have put them 5th, 6 points behind Arizona State. So this is a team that can, if everything goes right, potentially threaten. But a lot of stuff would have to go right. Ben, okay, how many AAs? I say I'll set the over under at 3.
Under. Yeah. Bryson McKay.
Man, I'm so fighting Ben. After he gets another hip surgery.
Well, you guys, listen. What we just talked about. We literally just talked about us like rating every team as better than what we have them, which is impossible, right? As we go up, and so I'm now saying I think they're gonna do worse, and you guys are mad.
I feel safer about 2 than I do 3. I feel safer about 2 than I do.
See? Make it. It's 2, Christian. 2's the number.
2 haters is what I see.
I mean, dude, 33 is tough. Latono can do it. He 100% can do it, but it's tough. Bolin has to be back to Bolin of old. And those are the 2 right now. Those are the 2 best options for your third AA. And then, I mean, I don't know. Where's Caleb Henson at? We don't know yet. We just don't know.
Yeah, well, you'll find out. You'll all find out. They'll have their day, sir.
I feel safer about 2 than I do 3.
Christian's going to pout after this podcast.
Definitely.
Hey, in a month, I might feel, after
CKLV,
you will. After CKLV, I might feel better about.
When they're hoisting that trophy
Better about
above Tyler Meisinger's Michigan Wolverines. How about that, Tyler?
Meisinger? I don't know him.
Tyler works here. He's a Michigan man and video man.
Okay.
He's my chief rival at Flow Sports right now. NCAA qualifier for the Wolverines in the Corona year, so he didn't get to wrestle, unfortunately.
Undefeated NCAAs.
Undefeated NCAAs.
Never lost.
Never lost. Okay, so I'm high on this team, obviously. How many AAs? I'll say 4. Higher or lower than current ranking at end of year? They will be higher than 13th, sir.
I think so.
I
think even if they have 2 AAs, they could still be higher. That's how I feel. This is.
Tyler, bookmark this show, please. Bookmark this show.
Book it.
I can't wait. Just save it to your bookmarks, and then. Do people still do that?
I don't think so.
I just put all my tabs up here in this perfect little Google Chrome spot. Do you do that?
No.
Oh, you got to do that.
Maybe.
Brother, this is living here. I can get to all my stuff quickly.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't take me long to get to places on the internet.
Flex. Okay, next question on the questionnaire. Better duel or tournament? Easy, both.
Tournament.
I think they're a better tournament team.
I do too. Okay. Well, it's 9:43. Quick question from Christian Piles drinks chunky milk. It's not true.
Great name.
Does Ben think he could take on 100 first graders, or would he be overwhelmed? So first graders are like 6 or 7.
Like we're trying to fight. I'm trying to fight him. What do you want me to do? Wrestle him? Fight him? What?
I just take on. Not get overwhelmed. I say they take you down to the ground, and then at that point
they can't. There's no way they could do any type of damage to me.
What if
I kind of disagree?
They just don't hit hard enough. They don't
have to hit you.
In my house,
they're gonna climb on you. They're all gonna just climb on you and overwhelm you. But the thing is, 100. How do you how do you get all?
And then they'd get scared. They'd run away and start crying.
No, they're programmed. These are Russian first graders. And in first grade in Russia, they're actually 12.
Oh my god! Well, if they're 12-year-olds, I'm having an issue then.
You're gonna have an issue. All right.
First graders,
107-year-old Russians. They're taking you down. They're gonna climb all over you. They're gonna pull you down. It's gonna be too much.
But they're not gonna be smart enough to do that. Because you think if
I'm gonna lead them
active effectiveness, they'd all be like climbing on each other's back to get up on top of me. But they're just gonna stand there on the outside of the circle because there's no way they're figuring out climb on top to get up. They're just gonna stand there.
You're underrating the courageousness of Russian children. I mean, American children.
Those 7-year-olds that are on the outside of the pack, they're gonna get distracted quick. They're gonna be soon. They're gonna be off doing craziness.
Yeah, 100. I don't think I need 100. Honestly, I don't think I need 100 to just take you down to the ground.
Might even be worse. They might get distracted. They'll start playing games with each other.
You give me 30. You give me 30 7-year-olds, and Ben Askren's going down. You're going down.
All right. I'm
Dude, now you got to teach 37-year-olds. You just played yourself.
Yeah, or a 37-year-old.
Okay.
37-year-olds or one 37-year-old, which could be us, I guess.
Yeah.
We're 37. We'll find someone better than us. We're gonna go. It's 9:46. Thank you guys so much for listening. Happy weekend. It's the last weekend
not quite the
without
weekend.
Division I wrestling.
We got wrestle-offs, though.
We got wrestle-offs. Wait, tonight? Is that tonight? Ohio State?
There's some tonight. There's some
Let's
tomorrow,
go.
some Saturday. Yeah.
We'll be live blogging that. Someone's live blogging
yeah.
that. So yeah, check that out, and we'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye. Man, that song. Oof.